The pattern shift I've been watching is now locked in, and what's coming over the next few weeks is going to be intense. We're looking at multiple Arctic blasts pushing through the middle of January, and each one of these cold surges brings the potential for significant snow and severe weather. This isn't a one-and-done situation. The atmosphere is setting up for a prolonged period of active and extreme weather, and I need to walk you through exactly what's developing because the threats are stacking up fast. Right now, we're dealing with severe weather that has already been upgraded by forecasters. Today's threat is real, tomorrow's threat is even bigger, and they've now added Saturday into the severe weather outlook. This is becoming a multi-day event with each wave bringing its own set of hazards. And here's the thing, this pattern doesn't just end after the weekend. Every trough of cold air that punches through is going to bring another round of storms behind it. The rest of January is shaping up to be one of the most active stretches we've seen this winter season. Let me break down the severe weather first because the immediate threats demand your attention. For today, we've been upgraded to a slight risk, which significantly increases our tornado chances. Tomorrow on Friday, we have an even bigger risk area, and the newly added Saturday outlook keeps tornado chances elevated right along the Gulf Coast. This is a prolonged severe weather event that's going to impact millions of people across multiple states. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. Looking at today's setup, there's a big cluster of thunderstorms pushing through Oklahoma into Kansas this morning with chances for hail embedded in some of those storm cells. As this activity pushes toward Missouri through late morning, watch what happens with the tail end of this system. It's strengthening across Oklahoma and could spin up tornado potential as it progresses toward the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. Now, the models are showing this as a weaker chance for supercell development, but there are still signals for a few supercells trying to form over Arkansas later this evening with potential for tornadoes. The northern portion of this system is a wind machine. That front stretching from Missouri through Illinois is bringing damaging winds of 50 miles per hour or greater as it pushes through the evening hours, reaching into Michigan by 10 o'clock and continuing to advance. On the western side of this system, we're also seeing snow develop. A secondary piece is bringing additional snow while shifting further east. But the bigger snow events are coming right behind all of this. Snow will continue through the night into early morning hours, pushing past Milwaukee and Green Bay. The sheer size of this storm system is impressive, and we're going to see more systems like this as January progresses. Tomorrow's tornado threat shifts further south and has been raised to a solid 5% probability. This is where things get really concerning because we're looking at multiple rounds of severe weather. Tomorrow morning brings the first line of storms with damaging wind potential. I'm not seeing a lot of hail with that initial round. The hail threat is more significant today. But tomorrow evening is when things intensify dramatically. Strong storms will fire up over southeastern Texas with hail developing west of Beaumont, while a big cluster of storms stretches all the way toward the Tennessee and Kentucky Valley. Heavy rainfall and strong winds will be the story along the southern edge of this activity. A massive line of storms will push through tomorrow morning, and then comes the second round as the system takes on that dangerous negative tilt tomorrow afternoon. This is where we could see a tornado outbreak develop. Strong storm cells will be firing over southeastern Texas by 4 in the afternoon. Louisiana toward the West Bank, Mississippi, and central Alabama will all be in the target zone with an intense line of storms. The activity pushing toward Tennessee and northern Georgia will be more of a cluster, but the most severe weather will be concentrated in the deep south. From 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 o'clock, storms will just keep rolling through one after another because we're locked into a weather pattern where storms continuously wrap around that high pressure while a deep trough feeds energy into the system. The flooding threat is very real with this setup. By 7, 8, 9 o'clock, the storms just keep coming through the overnight hours. This continues all the way into Saturday, bringing additional tornado chances along the Gulf, while severe weather extends toward the Carolinas. Forecasters have issued new alerts with significant updates on who faces the greatest risk. For today's tornado threat, that 5% zone covers a specific list of cities and states. The wind threat has also ramped up, particularly over Oklahoma, as we get that negative tilt later tonight. The hail threat is more limited but still present, with Texas remaining in the threat zone through Friday as well. Both the National Weather Service and Colorado State University modeling show these cells will likely become more dangerous and severe as they push through Arkansas and Missouri and possibly portions of Illinois through the evening as that negative tilt develops. Here's the atmospheric setup driving all of this. As that cutoff flow from the Pacific swings around toward the south-central region and takes on that negative tilt, it starts intensifying storms directly in front of it. Missouri toward Illinois, northern Arkansas, and possibly southern Iowa could see enhanced tornado potential as a result. We have lift, we have sufficient dew points, and that negative tilt is coming together. For tomorrow, a second deep trough pushes in, continuously driving storms around the high pressure. The pattern is clear with clockwise flow around the high pressure combining with a deep trough and cold air from the southwest. This puts the same general region at risk for severe weather day after day. Rounds of severe weather will impact Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, eastern Tennessee, and portions of the western Carolinas through Friday and into Saturday. The atmosphere stays in storm mode. Friday's tornado risk sits at 5%, but I believe it could upgrade, particularly for Mississippi. The wind threat covers the same region with widespread chances for 40 to 50 mile-per-hour gusts or greater. The hail threat stays concentrated along the Gulf, primarily around Texas into Louisiana. Colorado State University modeling shows cells could strengthen significantly over central Mississippi. Saturday has now been added to the severe outlook with a 5% tornado probability. I expect the tornado threat to remain focused along the Gulf. Our instability will grow through the evening from southern Iowa through Missouri, western Illinois, and Arkansas, helping thunderstorms intensify. Wind speeds aloft strengthen through the evening while instability persists across far southern Wisconsin and Illinois, keeping the tornado threat alive as that negative tilt develops. Friday evening brings cyclogenesis with a strengthening low-pressure system. This generates powerful winds reaching up to 80 knots, making this a very strong system that will bring damaging winds through the late night and overnight hours into the interior northeast, lasting through tomorrow afternoon. Significant tornado parameters line up directly along that line of storms, pushing through Arkansas and Missouri, even portions of Illinois, before the threat shifts toward the Gulf for Friday. The rapid refresh modeling shows Friday evening's strong storms staying in a conveyor belt pattern all the way through Saturday evening. Strong storms after strong storms wrapping around this high pressure between the troughs. This is a hot pocket for severe weather development. Now let me pivot to what comes after this severe weather outbreak, because the cold air is where things get really interesting for the rest of January. A very strong signal is showing up for multiple Arctic blasts pushing through the middle toward the end of the month before temperatures finally moderate heading into February. That deep cold signal we've been tracking for weeks is now verifying. Look at the latest projections showing cold air plunging south and locking in for an extended period. The pattern could go even deeper as we approach the end of January. The GFS model shows that same pattern with cold blasts repeatedly punching through before we reach February. This isn't just about temperature. Each cold surge brings the setup for more severe weather, just like what we're experiencing now through Friday and Saturday. Warmer temperatures ahead of each cold front create the instability for severe weather. Then the front crashes through, bringing the storms. This cycle repeats. And critically, this pattern also brings snow potential. Significant snow is showing up for the Four Corners region, but especially across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast with each system. Here's the storm timeline as I see it developing. The current system impacts us through this weekend, clearing out Sunday into Monday. The next cold blast arrives Wednesday and Thursday, possibly lingering into Friday. Then a third punch comes through after next weekend. The GFS is even suggesting another system could follow after that. This is a very strong signal for a sustained cold weather pattern. Remember my forecast from a while back about how a deep trough would create our best chance for southern snow? That possibility is looking more real with each model run. The Tennessee and Kentucky Valley toward the mid-Atlantic could see snow if that deep trough digs far enough south. If precipitation timing aligns with these cold fronts, the south-central region could see accumulating snow as well. Looking at the snow projections, the first system brings 1 to 3 inches across parts of the Midwest, with 2 to 4 inches in some spots. Upper Michigan could see 6 to 8 inches. The Four Corners picks up a few inches as well. Meanwhile, the train of storms across the southeast will bring heavy rainfall and continued flooding risk around that high pressure and trough combination. For tomorrow, a marginal risk for flash flooding covers a broad area, while a slight risk, the more serious category, covers Louisiana through Mississippi, Alabama, northern Georgia, and eastern Tennessee. That's significant flood potential that people need to take seriously. Multiple cold blasts are locked in through the middle of January. More snowstorms are coming with each one. More severe weather events are coming with each temperature swing. This pattern is going to make travel very tricky over the next few weeks. This isn't going to be the only severe weather event or the only cold blast we deal with. January is about to get very wild and extreme, just as the long-range signals suggested. The atmosphere is primed for an active second half of the month, with hazards ranging from tornadoes to flooding to significant snowstorms depending on where you live. Stay weather aware, have your plans ready for severe weather, and I'll keep you updated as each piece of this pattern comes into focus.